This panel saw guide is a product that any shop can use, large or small. We had a large, expensive panel saw in our shop, but we needed it. But there were so many times that I wish I'd had this one. And now I will show how it works. Now I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off of the bottom of this house door. And the way you do that is you set the saw up to take a 1/2 inch off. Now I'm going to slide it over against the guide, and what I want to do is I want to take a 1/2 inch off on the front, and I want to take just a 1/4 inch off on the bottom. So I have it touching here, I have it a 1/4 inch away from the guide here. Now I simply tighten this down. Then I move the guide out of the way so there's nothing to get caught in there for a kickback. Then I simply bring the door back, turn the blade up, there, I now have a perfectly smooth cut, perfectly straight, no tears top and bottom. Just sand the edge of this off a little bit with a piece of sandpaper and it's finished. And that's just how quickly you can cut off a door. Okay, I've laminated up the tabletop here. It was quite a bit longer than this when I started doing demos, but it's getting shorter. But like the ends, when you glue them together, it's hard to get them real even. So with this panel saw, you can just get them wherever they come out close, and then we'll cut them on here. To do that, you simply slide it under here, line it up for how much you want to take off, tighten this down here. There, you have a perfectly straight cut, it's perfectly smooth, very little setup time to it, and it's just as accurate as can be. So that's how you square up a board with the panel saw guide. Now I'm going to cut 4 inches off of this sheet. And that sheet could be 8 foot long, but I'm just using a smaller piece, and one of the reasons is every year it seems like these big panels get heavier. So just imagine if this is 8 foot long. It works out exactly the same. I'm going to take 4 inches off of an 8 foot panel. I got a mark here and here at 4 inches. All you do is slide that under here, line up the mark in the front, line up the mark here in the back, tighten it down, and you're ready to cut. And that is so easy to do, even if it's an 8 foot panel. But you try to cut 4 inches off an 8 foot panel without this, it's really hard to do. Here you get a perfect cut and it's just no effort to it at all. Now, I just drew this on here at random, just to show that you can make any cut imaginable on there. Now when you draw this line on here, extend it out here and put a little mark, and for this one extend it out and put on a little mark so you got something to line up with. Otherwise you just push it underneath it here. Line up with the front mark. I'm lined up with the back mark here. Now I simply tighten it down. And make the cut. So this way you can make just about any cut imaginable. Now we'll loosen it up, swing it around so we can make the other cut. This one I'm going to line up with the center of the blade and the back line here to make this cut. Okay, go ahead and make the cut. So like I said on this, any line that you can imagine to draw, you can cut with that panel saw. It's such a versatile piece of equipment. And I'll tell you what's really nice about it. Instead of spending $4,000 or $5,000 for a good panel saw, you'll spend less than $200 for this. A big panel saw takes up a lot of room in your shop. When you're done with this, you simply hang it on the wall out of the way. And it is so very, very accurate.